Hello everyone, Harry Baldock here, editor for Total Telecom. We're here on day one of Submarine Networks EMEA 2023. I'm delighted to be joined by Geoff Bennett, the Director of Solutions and Technology at Infinera. Geoff, how's your morning going so far?
Other than the fact that you seem to be growing even taller this year, Harry, it's going great.
I'll try and stop for next year. I'd like to start by talking about the kind of, I guess, the hot gossip in the subsea sector right now. What do you consider to be the hottest topics?
I think it's the way connectivity is rolling out. Normally, all I say is give a gross number for how much networks are growing. But what we're seeing is not only that, it's continuing to grow at a healthy rate, but also it's the amount of connectivity. Like instead of just point to point, everything's spreading out. You think of examples like Africa. Africa's getting 4 times the amount of bandwidth going in, which is probably what I said last year. But what I didn't add is now the detail of how those cables are branching out and connecting locations. So it's not just transit traffic. Similar with the Middle East, you expect it to be transit traffic because it's it's a crossroads in between Europe and Asia. We're seeing so much add drop traffic. That's affecting cable design. It's affecting how you terminate those cables in lots of the landing stations, and it's a very, very healthy way to grow the network, I think.
And of course, lots of these new projects, these new cables that are being rolled out, Infinera is obviously very closely involved in those. What would you say are the kind of most exciting projects that you're taking part in right now?
There's a couple of ways of looking at it. One, you could say, what's the hottest cable in terms of technology? Equiano, I think, is a really interesting system, and what we're really proud of is that we've had the first bandwidth lit up on Equiano that's actually carrying services in the form of Paratus and Seacom, the first operators offering services over that cable. So I think that's a pretty hot project. But we also have projects when you look at older cables. Remember, these cables have got a 25-year or more engineering life, but what's their economic life? The more you can do to extend the economic life of those cables, the better. That's where we're seeing a lot of activity around the Asia-Pacific region. Obviously, we think of the Pacific as some of the longest cables in the world, but when you look at the sort of Eastern Asia region, it's so meshed with cables. They suffer from a lot of earthquake activity, so you have to have resilient roots, and so the ability to extend the life of those older cables to continue to offer both primary service and backup service, I think is really important.
And of course, here at SubNets, we've got so many different people from so many different parts of the industry. What kind of conversations would you say you're most looking forward to having here at the event?
I've been quite focused on what is the roadmap for subsea cables going forward. It's partly so that, I love the educational aspect. There's a big theme, I think, at these conferences, which is we need to refresh our experience base, the male, pale and stale aspect, which is it's still clinging onto the industry. Anything I can do to help with that sort of bringing new blood into the industry is great. Increasing diversity, we've got a much bigger talent pool that we should be looking at recruiting from. Those are the kinds of conversations I think are quite interesting. That they're not necessarily in Infinera's direct benefit, but I think it's to the industry's benefit. But the conversations I look forward to are on some of these new exciting cables, the older cables of how we can squeeze the more capacity out of. Yeah, I think those are the conversations I'm looking forward to. And actually, having been in the plenary session this morning, seen the room absolutely packed, and then sneaked out early for a coffee and saw the show floor packed as well. I don't know where we're all going to fit. It's incredible.
No, it's certainly a very exciting time for the submarine community, and it's so great to have you all with us. And Geoff, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's always great to speak to you.
Yeah, nice to see you again, Harry.